February 13th, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. Today it's just a really noisy, choppy day. It was just I don't know, it was kind of hard to really navigate, but if you just kind of kept price your trend channels pretty tight, you can kind of get a read of what was going on. There weren't too many trades today. There were a few almost trades, these parentheses ones. The only economic data that came out was the core CPI number, which is around 5:30 Pacific Standard, which is kind of this blocked out area. I took a total of one trade and was profitable. And I was just, yeah, pretty happy to get that one and just didn't really hunt for anything else. And as you can see, when I did take it, it was the price action really slowed. So let me just say, right at the open, it's 6:30 Pacific Standard to about 9:30 Pacific Standard, about 3 hours. It was really volatile. Things were just kind of moving sideways, flashing up and down, and flashing back down. There was just the ATR was huge today. Well, relatively speaking, it was like 5 to 8 at times, and it was just kind of oscillating like crazy. Then around 9:30 Pacific Standard, things really slowed down to a halt. Well, I take that back, not to a halt, but things really slowed down where the candles took quite a while to close. So I'm going to get into the setups right now. I didn't take any trades yesterday because I really didn't even trade yesterday. So, but yesterday was also this gigantic sell-off, which is kind of came out of nowhere. So pre-market, so I started looking at the charts right about right here, and in the pre-market, I could see there was a lot of volume, a lot of chop. So I thought it was going to be a pretty volatile day, and it turned out to be. But also, as I said, toward the latter half of the day, things really started to slow down. So this is when the economic CPI numbers came out. It was starting to move sideways. Looks like it was in this range, with the range defined by this low of this purple range channel. And the high actually had it slightly tighter at this blue line. Later, I extended it up when this guy formed. And so you have a pre-market high. It's like a first entry long pullback, second entry long. The count resets right here. You have a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I actually thought this was a possible trade, but it is too early in the day for me because it's right at the open. If you can see the timestamp 6:30 and 45 seconds. So in a span of 45 seconds, 5 candles had already printed. But what I thought was a possible trade is because it looks like it's bouncing off the bottom of the range, triple test, first entry long visual, second entry long visual, also a technical first entry long, second entry long. Signal bar isn't that great, but what saves it is this trigger bar engulfs it. It moves one tick below, flashes all the way up, engulfs the entire candle, and closes near its high. So I thought it was a possible trade here. You get a higher low here, but at the time, the top of my range was this blue line, and you do have enough for a 1 point scalp, but it just felt a little bit risky, so I didn't really want to tempt it. And again, the time of the day, it's really early in the day. So it breaks of this orange up channel, tests the high, and it starts reversing down. That's why I extended this blue line to where this purple range is, because I thought maybe I'm in this range. This is what I'm seeing in real time. It's like, okay, well, this blue one isn't very valid now, and it might be this higher one. So go ahead and delete this for now. There's potentially a triple test here. I was looking for one, but it starts reversing back down. It's here. I was expecting a bounce. It breaks through. Gives you a second entry short, but it's an almost trade because you do have a localized low, first entry short pullback, second entry short. When I first see this, I'm thinking prices are moving back into this range because it's potentially a fail breakout. You get a potential second entry short, but this isn't a very good signal bar. No EMA touch confirmation. This green down channel isn't really confirmed yet, and I just had an overshoot on the low side because I didn't think the bottom of the range, bottom of the channel is actually here, kept it tight here. So when I see a break on this side, looks like it's 2 legs up. I'm expecting a potential break up here, but then maybe another move back down. So it left me just wanting to see what happens after this candle. But it flashes down, so you do have a second entry short, but it's almost trade because there's no way for me to really know what was going to happen right here. Moves down this green down channel, and then it starts pushing down, has a break on this green down channel to a more aggressive move down. So that's where I established this red down channel here. No second entries. Hits the localized low, excuse me, well, global low for the day. Not for the day, as of right now. Pushes up. You do have a first entry short, pullback. You technically have a second entry short up here, but it also looks like just one big move. Break of the orange up channel, test the highs. I didn't extend this all the way over to here, but I was aware that this line could act as a resistance because it acted as a resistance. So if you just extend the top half, like here, I was thinking there might be some kind of resistance that prices are obeying. So I just have to be extra careful that, instead of going long or short, I just need to see what happens. Pushes the high side, and I'm thinking, okay, it might be the top of this gray range, which is defined by kind of the pre-market highs and pre-market low. Now, the pre-market high is actually this blue line here, but I thought there might have actually been a tighter range where this gray range is actually right now. With potential fail breakout, starts moving down this green down channel. Break, test the low, starts moving sideways. This is just congestion. Even if the second entry is set up, it feels very hard to trust this. And I also noticed that like candles are getting kind of large because like this candle itself is about 35 ticks or 8.25 points, which is huge for today. Just the bottom of this range pushes out, creates a localized high. First entry long pullback technically is a second entry long, also a new low. You technically have a first entry short, second entry short, it's like a third entry short, but I grouped this together and said first entry, second entry, failure. But this is a very good signal bar because you're looking for second entry long, you're looking for a nice bullish bar. And if for a failed second entry short, you're also looking for a nice bullish bar. But it doesn't form on this guy, and then rockets up like this. So there's no trade here, just something I was looking at in real time, and I was thinking, is there a trade here? EMA, for the most part, for most of the day, isn't very reliable as a key entry point because you have prices moving both above and below. And even when I'm watching this in real time, I kind of suspected, okay, don't be afraid of the EMA acting as a support or resistance because it's not reliable as either. So just kind of treat it as pretty much neutral. There's no good feel to, or no need to give it more impact on a trade than you usually do because it's not really quite trending. It's a low, localized low, first entry short pullback, second entry short, and it creates a lower high, confirms your second entry short, break of this orange up channel, test the high, it's moving back down. I actually thought this might have been a possible trade. I liked it because also it engulfed this guy, but strong push down. It looked like it would have been enough for a quick one or even 1 point or 6 tick scalp. Pushes down, so it'll work. Hits this localized low. I thought there was kind of like close to triple test. Now, this is just 1 tick away, but I thought, okay, well, there's some kind of push here that failed. Some kind of push here that really didn't touch, but almost did, kind of failed. And a push and failure here. And I thought there was a higher low. It's also a localized high. First entry long pullback, second entry long pushback, pullback down, almost like it was coming back down and flush back up. So I thought there was a possible higher low here, but here I was thought the prices are coming down. It's finding support, and now it's trying to reverse my thinking and go high. So I saw it, but I didn't feel strongly about it. But I thought it might have been a possible trade, but not good enough for me because I'm just not that quick on my feet right now. Then prices push up, hits this top of the range. Looks like it's obeying. I was wondering if it's going to break out because it also looked like it's moving up this red up channel. Break, makes one attempt to test the high, makes a second attempt, but I also had this transparent channel drawn. As you can see, I never really colored it in because I couldn't quite figure out what it, I mean, you could tell prices are moving down, but I couldn't quite figure out a channel to fit this in because I initially had it here, as I said, or I had it originally drawn. Then I dragged it down to here, but this doesn't quite look right because it has a failure here. Plus, now it's kind of leaving this swing out in the air. So whether it's this one or even all the way down here, there's just not enough price action to really define it. So kind of left it where it was, but I was just extra cautious to try and take a trade. It's a localized low. First entry short pullback, second entry short pushes up. This is technically a third entry short, but each one is getting higher and higher, so it just doesn't give you much confidence to go short. So localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, and it gives you a higher low here. I thought this is an almost trade, but this candle is just too big a risk. This candle here is 32 ticks or 8.25 points, which is huge. And you're asking it to push up and you're running into a potential resistance here. Now there isn't enough room here for a quick 1, even 2 point scalp, but it just felt risky. Pushes up on this orange up channel, break, test the high. It's just kind of getting noisy up here. Then it flushes back down. This is a lot of price action just in the first couple of hours, but then later it gets really slow. So it's just kind of an interesting, kind of an odd day, very choppy, very noisy. Localized high, say first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long here, but it's far from anything. It's just kind of floating out in the middle of nowhere. I established this yellow down channel after this candle, and then the low side, I kind of put it right here, but there's no setup here. Prices continue moving down. Again, there's still no setup, and it pushes up, starts reversing. Clearly, we're not in a range, and we're not in a clean channel. It's just kind of chopping left and right. Excuse me, not left and right, chopping up and down. So pushes up, break of this orange up channel, test the high, localized high, first entry long, and that's all you really get. Also saw this as a localized low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. Count resets here because it could be considered a new swing low. First entry short, pullback, second entry short here, second entry short failure. But I was thinking at the time, it's possible I could be in a range. So I don't really want to be buying this because it could be a failed breakout, we'll pullback coming right back in. The prices. So I wasn't sure if this is like a spike in a channel because this channel doesn't fit very clean. Doesn't even look like much of, it doesn't fit very well. So I'm just waiting for price action to kind of clear up so I can get a better idea of what's going on. It's a localized high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long inside bar. So it's not really a clean second entry long. We got a higher low here, but the higher low is kind of not the cleanest as well. Pushes up, starts to reverse. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Break of this orange down channel, I'm thinking might test the low, but it starts reversing. And when it gets up to here, it recovered more than 50% of this down leg. So I'm not really sure it's really going to test the low anymore. And from the history of the day, prices are just kind of moving, uh, not really in a well-defined fashion because it's just moving sideways and just chopping. So it was a localized low here as a first entry short pullback, second entry short also was a new high, localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. This is, I thought, two key entry points, but the candles are too big. So I kind of left it alone. Again, this is a gigantic candle. This is a 38 ticks. So it is really strong momentum push up. Even if you tried to enter at the highs here, you're contending with the fact that there's potential resistance here or here. So it's just too much of a risk. And where would your stop loss be? Your stop loss would most likely be below here because you wouldn't want to keep it in here because during the life of the candle, it could oscillate and easily stop you out. So you'd be risking even 2 points so you'd be aiming for 1 to 2 point profit target for a risk of 9. And that's just not very favorable. Then it creates a localized low, first entry short pullback, second entry short, potential second entry short failure. But keep in mind, in real time, I'm still looking at something like this, thinking there could be some kind of resistance, kind of drawing it not really well, but roughly around this area because it looked like it had trouble breaking through this zone. So not a big fan of this yet. Pushes up and breaks out. Creates a first entry long, pullback. You have a second entry long with an inside bar, so you really don't have anything. EMA is starting to act as resistance, act as support. So I was very curious to see what's going to happen here because I did have this drawn preliminarily as a trend line, which then I later turned into a channel. So I'm watching for a reaction here. It bounces. So I thought, okay, this is a valid trend line. Extended it, created it into a trend channel by trying to connect the highs. So I'm thinking, okay, we're moving up this yellow or this orange up channel. It's a spike in a channel. No key, no second entry, unfortunately. Prices continue. You really only get first entries. The first break of the orange up channel, first entry long, it doesn't make a double top and it creates a second entry long potential. Still potential second entry long. Here it gives you your second entry long. This is actually where I take my one and only setup. I'm looking at this and I'm thinking prices are clearly starting to move up. There was an early channel, gigantic channel I drew something like this, but it's not helpful because you already know prices are starting to creep upwards. But you know this orange up channel fits pretty well. This is the first break. It didn't quite test the high. It looked like it tried to make an attempt here, pull back, and then it created a very nice follow through. So it's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Technically, this is your signal bar, and you got a confirmation second entry long here. I thought this is a pretty decent trade, but I want to reduce my risk because I'm thinking prices still want to go in and make an attempt by moving into this yellow up channel. So I entered one tick above this candle just to reduce my risk. Entered one tick going for 6 ticks, 2 points or 8 ticks gets it pretty close to this, so I didn't want to risk that. Pushes up, gets my 6 ticks, and I was pretty happy. Keep in mind that when I entered this, it immediately goes against me, and I thought I was going to be stopped out because my stop is below this candle, but it was actually 2 ticks away. It reverses, kind of pushes up, and then actually closes here. So here, opens, fills me, makes me think I get stopped out, pushes back up, pushes and makes a high, then comes back down and closes the low. So I wasn't really sure what's going on here if I was going to get stopped out, but I thought there's might be enough push still to get me in, get me out of my trade and still push into this yellow up channel, which it does. And as you can see, it kind of, even for 2 points, it would have been safe. 3 points, it would have been safe. You just sit through this. Yellow up channels test the high, starts moving sideways, new high, first entry long pullback. You technically have a second entry long here, but it just feels too sideways. You're just kind of creating piano keys now. Um, so I didn't really think there was a possible, or I didn't think there was a safe trade here. Pushes and starts breaking down. Pushes down on this red down channel, reverses, no key, no second entry setups. You do have the second entry short here, but it feels not the safest. It's also not the right signal bar color. Again, the EMA was being a little bit more reliable, but now it can't be relied on again. So throughout the day, most of the time, EMA wasn't really useful, but here it kind of was, and in here it's losing its pretty much its validity of being something useful. Prices then continue moving. So new high, first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long here, but it just feels a little bit congested. Starts moving down what I think is this transparent down channel. Then it starts moving sideways. There's a new low. It's a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here. It's not the best signal bar. It's coming in from a failed breakout, but seeing something like this makes me a little cautious. Drops around, pushes up. I established this transparent down channel, but it doesn't fit quite nicely because you have a lot of empty space here, kind of creating a bunch of empty space here. It's pretty wide for how many candles are printed. Starts moving down, breaks to the low side. Technically gives you a second entry short here. It's a new low. First entry short pullback, second entry short. Potential orange down channel being formed here. But I was thinking if this channel, which I haven't colored in yet, is actually the channel in play, I'm reluctant to take this second entry short right now because it could reverse to the other side and cause a failed breakout on the high side of this. So I need a lower high confirmation. This could be a lower high, but the candle doesn't finish well, and it finally pushes down. So this might have been a lower high, but again, as I said, I'm hesitant because the candle doesn't finish well. I don't really have a clean setup. Looks like it might be moving down this orange down channel. Then it starts reversing. First entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short here, but this break of this green down channel break of this green up channel might want to test the high. And there's reverses. Again, it's just being noisy. It pushes and pushes down. It creates what I found is like a new low. First entry short pullback, second entry short, but this is just kind of last ditch, just something out in the middle of nowhere. I tried to fit a channel with a line here, and it looked like it kind of fit both at the high side. Actually, it doesn't quite fit as well as it did before. Go ahead and color it in right here. Let's just say it's blue, because it fits pretty well on the low side, and on the high side it fits pretty well, but there's a fail breakout here, so again, I'm reluctant to take a short just now. Then it pushes down, and you're entering the last 30 minutes of the day. So, and even on today like this, the last 10 minutes, which is right here, there's quite a bit of price action, but even leading up to it at 12:30 Pacific Standard, this last 30 minutes and this big block starting from here is the last 10 minutes. But even before that, all this price action was a couple of hours of trading compared to pretty much where I took my trade all the way to this gray line. That's 3 hours of trading. Then from here over is another 3 hours of trading. Prices are just slowing down. End of the week, I was already profitable. I wasn't really going to try to press for anything. Just kind of being happy that at least my first and only trade was green compared to the last, well, the first 3 days of the week where my first trade has been red. So I just decided, you know what? Just hang it up. Don't try to get back green anytime soon. I mean, I was green for today, but I'm kind of red for the week. So kind of how I saw kind of how I saw the prices today. And I know Monday is a holiday, so I won't be trading because I think the market is open briefly for futures trading, but it's not worth trading. So hopefully that was helpful.